And I always said, I just need to be here till the children grow up and they're adults and they can fend for themselves, then you can have me. And I'm kind of made a pact with it. And
So thank you for joining me. I read a little bit about your story. Feel free to share whatever you want to share. If anything that I ask you makes you feel uncomfortable, you can say so. I can always edit it out. Is that all right?
yeah, I think from a young child, I was placed with the wrong family. I've come through it with the wrong family. I remember my past life. And would go to places and I'd be able to tell my mum, I know this and I know this and I know this. And she was like, she couldn't understand it, and I never wanted to call her mum. So it's really weird, very odd things happening. And from a very young age, I started seeing spirit animals. That's how it started. I would see cats go through windows. I must have been about 8. And my mum thought they were just going through an open window, but they wasn't. They were going through a closed window. And then they progressed to people.
Okay.
And I'd start seeing people. And I'd have, when I got to 12, probably, was a very, very bad time. I thought I'd delve in and use the Ouija board. And I actually brought through some very bad spirits that tried to burn our house. Our house got burgled and my room was all tidied up. I'd hear them follow me up the stairs. If I had a mirror on my door, I could look in it and see the person behind me.
Oh.
And they locked me in the bathroom. They used to sit down on my bed. They'd knock the wardrobe doors as if they were inside to get out. It was just horrendous. Then I kind of learned how to deal with that and progress and welcomed the light. So I kind of looked into other things relating to spirits and realized I was the one that could get rid of things and bring what I wanted. So I could get rid of the bad and bring the good. And now I have all the good, and I've chose not to see any spirits unless just I can hear, and I can make things go away. I can send them into the light and things like this.
Wow. Yeah, so tell me a little bit about the Ouija board, because I was playing Ouija board as well, and I'm sure that also brought all sorts of things in to my house. How do you get rid of them? How do you get rid of them?
You can't get rid of them once they're there. We moved house, and that's how we got rid of it. No, I brought through maybe 2 or 3 people. And they were there to stay, and they did a lot of bad things in the house. They set the cooker on fire, different things like that. And you can't get rid of them. You shouldn't ever meddle with a Ouija board.
No, I don't know. So what about the people that have bought the house now? I mean, do they have the same problem then?
I think it's that the area that we was in, that house has been demolished. The whole kind of little area was demolished, and I think all new things have been built. I believe it's like a shopping area, so I don't think anybody lives there.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah,
that's quite good. So I just did an interview earlier today, and this lady said the exact same thing that you did, which is she felt like she was born into the wrong family. The wrong time, the wrong place, the wrong country, the wrong everything.
Yeah.
And she's not the first one, because I had the same experience, because you have this memory of what feels right, and now you're in a family and it's just not feeling right. They don't understand you. They don't get it. At what
Yeah.
age were you that you first realized this is not where I'm meant to be, even though you chose this?
Yeah. I would say quite young, maybe 7,
Okay.
6, 7. Yeah. I was always drawn towards being around foreign people, any
Okay.
foreign people, Asian, Swedish, doesn't matter, but just foreign people. I wasn't accustomed. I'm still not. I don't get on with my own people.
That's weird,
I
huh?
married, I married a Syrian. I lived there for a bit. My children obviously are half Syrian, and I've never had any relationship with an Englishman. I just can't seem to adapt to them.
That's weird.
I can't adapt to them
So
at all.
tell me about your past life. Where were you in your past life?
I think it was Victorian times.
Mhm.
I was in an area in England called Blackpool. That's where we used to go in the summertime to the beach. And I would know from the minute we would go by train, I'd get off the train and I knew exactly where I was going. I knew the streets. I told my mum I used to live in that house and I used to play on this street. And she'd just think I was a bit loopy. I just knew it all. I knew
Wow.
the dress I wore. I knew I had like the Victorian dress and the socks and the shoes. And I was from a wealthy family because I was dressed very well. But I don't have memories beyond that. Just that I know I was there and I was a child there, and it was like I was mirroring myself at the same age, but I was in this lifetime.
So if you were there then, how come you can't identify with English men?
I don't know. I really
Do you
have
think
no idea.
do you think it's something that happened in that lifetime?
I think I've had a lot of karmic history with my ex-husband. I think he's been with me through lifetimes and it's finished now. The karma has finished. Um, and now my life is starting to settle. And now I'm going into a phase where I'm questioning life, as in what energy is out there? Why has that energy done this to me? And why is it doing it to that person? What else do I need to possibly learn? I've learned so much and had so much tragedy. What else can be thrown at me for me to have finished all this karma? Because I believe you go through life stages to learn, and
Yeah.
something you've not learned, you're going to come back and learn it, or you're going to be taught what you did to somebody in a past life. So I don't know what I've done, but I think the karma was with my ex-husband. I think he was with me through many lives, and that's finished now. There's no more karma there for him to give me or me to give him, and it's a complete done. And now I'm kind of wondering about life. Just feels strange. I was just speaking about this to my friend, saying, and she said, yeah, the world does feel odd. I said, it's very, very strange. There's something happening and I can't put my finger on it. I don't know what's happening in the world, but something's happening. It's like there's just a change.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Especially the last few years. I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of movement towards, I almost see it like a battle between good and evil.
Uh-huh.
And there's a lot of people wanting people's souls. How can
Yeah.
we convert them so we can take their souls? And I think the people on the light side are like, no, we're going to try and convince you to come over, and the people on the dark side are trying to convince them to come over, and then everybody else is there in the middle.
Yeah.
They've got
I've
other
had a
kind of
near-death
gifts.
experience as well. Yeah, I have had a near-death experience when my 2 daughters was in the car.
Yeah.
I had a near-death experience, and I remember my life flashing before my eyes within a second. And I did see that energy light in front of me, and I said, I'm not coming. I need to be here for my children. And somehow that managed to swerve and miss me at the last. I did have that. Yeah.
Did that change anything within you?
It made me believe there is a higher force out there that does listen and can connect to us. And that was a near-death experience, but I had a terrible kind of tragic life with my ex-husband, who was quite abusive, and I always thought he's going to kill me. And I always said, I just need to be here till the children grow up and they're adults and they can fend for themselves, then you can have me. And I kind of made a pact with it, and we were good with it. And then this year, my son turned 21, and suddenly they were testing me for all sorts of cancer, bowel cancer, stomach cancer, you name it. I was getting tested for it. I was having tests in the scanner machine. I was in there for an hour and a half. I had x-rays. I had to go back every 2 days for the XYZ. And I then remembered, I said, when my children are grown up, you can have me. And I remembered,
I just got goosebumps.
And I actually said, okay, I made that pact with you. If you want me, you can have me. And I kind of was submissive to it. It's like, okay, if you want to take me now, you can take me now. And then all of a sudden, I got the phone call from the consultant saying, you're all clear.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, they don't want me now. They were waiting for me to say, yes, you can have me. But they're saying, actually, you can have another chance.
Wow.
So I don't know what my chance is for. It's yet to be told.
So now they've run all these tests. What is wrong that they're running the tests? I know you said you've got fibromyalgia. Would it be that?
I've got fibromyalgia. I've got arthritis. Mainly them kind of things. But they were testing me for bowel cancer because I had a lot of issues, and they were convinced that I'd had bowel cancer because they tried to do a colonoscopy and they couldn't, and that's when they put me in. Within days, I was having all these scans and tests and God knows what. I was swallowing tablets and then had to go and get monitored on an x-ray where they were going in my body. And they were looking and they were like, yeah, these aren't moving. We don't know why. They should be moving through your body. And I remember I was driving back from the hospital and I remember, I made a pact that you want to take me. And I remembered, and I'm like, it's fair enough. I asked you to leave me till my children grow up. And if you want to take me via cancer, then you can take me, And then it was about 3 weeks later. I was waiting on this call. I kept getting told the consultant's going to call you in a couple of days. And it was 3 weeks later he called me. And I kept ringing saying, he's not called me. What's going on? Oh, we'll send him a message. We'll message him. And eventually he did call me and said, he was talking to me like, you've wasted our time. There's nothing wrong with you. Why did you come? I'm like, what? He's like, you just maybe have a slow transit, but there's nothing there. What we saw on the colonoscopy is not there. It's not in when you've gone through a CT scanner that you're clear. You're absolutely clear. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I can only put it down to, I can only put it down to, they wanted me to remember. I did say, when my children grow up, if you want me, you can have me. And I was ready to go. I said, okay, that's fine. And then I got the all clear. So,
well, where's the fun in getting a willing victim?
I know. It's a bit strange, isn't it?
Yeah. So if I may ask, I know because I work with toxic relationships, with people in toxic relationships, is that big? Were you with an abusive husband because of your childhood?
Probably, yes. Yeah, I think it's all related,
Yeah, because
definitely.
we always keep finding the same kind of person that was our
Until
caregiver,
yeah, yeah,
thinking somehow if we meet the same kind of person, we can fix them so
yeah.
that we can be loved. And the problem
And
is
I've
you meet
now,
this person.
yeah, I've stayed on my own now for 15 years and
Yeah,
brought my children up, and I've been happy. So
yeah. Well, have
I've
you heard
come
of the
away from it.
4B movement?
I don't understand the moon movement. I'm trying to get my head around that and how it impacts me, because I know it does, but I don't know how.
Well, the 4B movement, I think it started in South Korea because apparently, I think it started in 2016. There was a lady, a South Korean woman, who wrote a book, her memoir, about how
Yeah.
she was married into this, patriarchy, was treated badly. The women there are really treated badly. And a lot of
Mm.
women that read the book said, we don't want to be treated like that anymore. So they stopped marrying these men, stopped having children with them, stopped sleeping with them. And all these words start with a B. So it's the 4 Bs. And now this year is the first year that they haven't had any grade 1 pupils come to school because there have been so little babies born. The schools do
Ah,
not have any grade 1 students. And
wow.
there's more deaths, deaths than there are births there happening.
Birds, yeah, yeah. I've heard that, yes. And a lot of the younger generation don't want children, do they?
No,
Very
well,
strange.
yeah, I think the way the world is going now, if you were younger now, would you want to have children right now, not
No,
knowing which direction it's going to go in?
no. We're overpopulated. There's too many people in the world, and I think humanity is destroying the world.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much besides the pollution and whatever. There's actually deliberate action to cause damage. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got the planes doing their thing, dropping. Is it something to make rain or something, and
Oh, the
for
cloud
the
seeding.
weather?
Yeah, they're doing
The
that in
cloud,
in
yeah, the cloud
Dubai.
seeding. So yeah, and now Dubai's flooded, and they. I
Oh,
don't understand them. I really
well,
don't.
well, it's the chemtrails as well. Uh,
Yeah,
it's the
there's
fertilizers in the soil. It's the
yeah,
food that's being manipulated.
yeah.
It's the
They're
the whole
saying
medical world.
we don't have organic anymore. It's not organic because whatever's coming from the sky in the rain is penetrating that ground, and it's poisonous. So it's not actually organic. So we're kind of stuck.
Yeah, so that can be depressing, but at the same time, there are people that came here for that reason to show people that there's another way.
Yeah,
And I do believe for myself. I got, I think I was about 3 years old, and I told my parents, I don't belong here. You're not my family. And I remember saying it. And they said, no, you are. You're a child. And I said, I'm not. I don't know who you guys are. I don't know who you people are. And I wanted to see my birth certificate, but it doesn't matter that I look like them. I think like them. There's something
yeah,
else going on. I kind of felt like an alien dropped here into this godforsaken place, wondering what on
yeah.
earth am I
Like you're
doing here?
just there. Yeah,
But there's so
you
many
just
of us
live
going
here.
through that. You're not,
Yeah,
it's not just me, it's you, it's the previous lady I was speaking to. You're kind of bored and saying, what am I doing here? They're like, who are
yeah.
you people? You total
I
strangers.
know. I do find people very, and I sometimes speak to people and I don't understand their way of thinking. It's like, how do you not think like how I think? And I struggle with that sometimes, even now, and I'm 53, and I will still meet people and think, you've had an education, yet you're still stupid, And I'm like, you need to
Well,
learn more.
well, it's what are you learning? Like I can learn how to obey the traffic rules, but is that valid? Is that like going to enhance my life, or is it just going to keep me alive?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They learn what they need to learn for themselves, don't they? And that's it.
Well, that's it. And the thing is, you've had a good influence on your children as well. You've been there for them and stuff. And I also find
Yeah.
like there's a lot of interracial marriages happening as well, which is a good thing because it kind of just
Yeah.
makes the world a more global place
Yeah.
and creates more tolerance for other races as well.
It does. It does. It depends.
So,
I think though we're as a white person, we're not always accepted into, let's say, the Muslim or Asian community as much as they would be to us. It's very different,
well, could you
you
blame
know.
them? If you look at our history, I mean, I think the Vikings were
Yeah, yeah,
very brutal, barbaric.
yeah. I suppose. I suppose. Not thought
Yeah.
about it that way.
Yeah. You know, it's also interesting. I did a past life regression with myself and with my ex-husband. And
Yeah,
I remember being in England in the Victorian days, and I was
yeah.
18 and I died of starvation. I was actually starved to death.
Wow.
And I lived is East End. Is that where the poorer area is?
London. Yeah.
Okay, so I was in East End, and I hate if I think of London and England, I just hate it. I think of rats
Ah,
and cobblestone streets and cold and damp. And he also had a memory of Victorian days, but he was the son of a squire or a
right.
baron. And he used to go to the park and he would womanize with all the ladies with the fancy gloves and the hats and the umbrellas and whatnot. And apparently he remembers seeing me in those days, and he told me he couldn't see me anymore because I was beneath him socially, from a social class point of
Oh,
view. And
yeah.
so I ended up dying of starvation. He never got married.
Wow.
And then I said to him, well, how did you die? And he said, well, his coach was robbed and they stole his pocket watch and they stabbed him in the side with a dagger. And what is so interesting is when we did this regression, I was reading a Sylvia Brown book, and about a week later, I got to this chapter where she was talking about birthmarks. And I said to him, do you have any birthmarks? And he says, yeah,
He
I've
had
got
one
one
on
here
his
on my side.
side.
And
Yeah.
it's the shape of a diamond. It's the shape of a dagger.
Yeah. Wow.
So, yeah, we also have karma. It's interesting.
We
It's
can't
interesting.
predict what goes on, you know, we just can't remember so much to bring it forward into this life. It's very hard. I've not done a past life regression.
Yeah, it's so interesting because, like, you kind of feel like your body is expanding and contracting, and all of a sudden, it's like, have you seen those 3D pictures? It's just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
dots. And then as you look at it, it starts creating a picture. And the more you look into it, the more you can start moving around in it. And that's how it kind of feels. So at first
Ah,
you look at your feet and then you kind of see what's happening around you, and slowly but surely the story unfolds. And when you
ah,
communicate with people, it's telepathically. There's no words, there's just understanding. And you know,
yeah.
whether it's true or not, it can be freaky. But I mean, I just say I remember that. I remember London. I remember hating it. I've had absolutely no desire whatsoever to go live in any kind of cold country. I hate the cold.
Oh,
I hate damp. And he
I hate
loves
the
England.
cold.
And he had the
I
same
hate that.
experience you had.
Yeah.
He got on the
I hate
train.
the
He
cold.
knew exactly where he was.
Yeah. I love hot countries and I love to sit in the sun, and I don't even tan. I don't go brown. I have to put factor 50 and a sun hat and I go white and I come back white. And
Wow.
I just love the sun. In my country, I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're not a tree.
No, I can move. I can
So tell me,
definitely move.
yeah. So tell me about your relationship with your children now. How are they? Where are they? Are they staying with you still?
My son lives with me. He's 21. He's got autism. My daughter's got autism. She's 24. She's got her daughter who's got autism. And I have another daughter who doesn't have anything.
Okay.
We say she's the clever one. Um, they have got their own relationships going on. I have a very strained relationship with one of my daughters because we knock heads a lot. Because I think it's her autism, and she didn't like how I brought it up, and we have a lot of strain there. But I think there's karma there that needs dealt with as well, and that's why there's an issue. So I'm trying to work through that with her. But otherwise, I get on quite well with my kids. Yeah.
Yeah. And your fibromyalgia, now, when did that start?
2010.
So what happened in 2010?
Well, I had all the problems with my ex-husband, and I was always on, like, if we're going through a traffic light system, I was on red all the time, always on alert. And then suddenly when it stopped, I missed the amber and went straight to green. And it's my body decided, oh, you can rest, you can relax. And then one morning I couldn't get out of bed. And fibromyalgia was only just kind of getting known. And they thought I had MS. So they were testing me for MS. And it took sometimes 12 weeks for blood tests to come back to, you know, for markers on things. And nothing was happening. The rheumatologist said, you know, it's definitely fibromyalgia. She would touch me in certain points that she knew that if she touched me, I'd have pain. And I was in agony. And she said, it's definitely fibromyalgia. And I struggled. I think it was very like MS because I was falling over my own feet. I couldn't get up in the morning. And now I kind of, it's like living with constant pain, but then you get a flare up and it goes worse. And then that flare up comes down and you just go back to your level of pain again. So I'm used to having a level of pain that if that pain ever went away, I'd be thinking, what's going on? So it's very odd. And the kids had to do a lot of things to help me because I couldn't do things around the house sometimes, and they were quite young and they had to help me. But we got through it.
So is it a nerve pain or a muscular pain?
I'd say more muscular. It kind of goes, I have it in my hands, so my hands are always quite stiff. My fingers can lock sometimes. And then the worst pain is my calves and my Achilles. But this past week, it's kind of gone all the way down from my lower back, all the way down my legs, and it's horrendous pain. And I don't know why. It must be a flare-up.
So what is the prognosis?
I do some self-healing on myself, and that can help. But then when you do I don't know if you know about self-healing, but it can make you feel worse. It can make you feel sicker. It's better to have somebody else do it for you than do it yourself. So I try not to do it very often.
Yeah, is it like that Hexheimer reaction where your body releases toxins or something? And
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm busy working through a book by R.J. Spiner. He was in hospital. He had an abscess on his spine, and it was septic. And they said he'd become paralyzed from the chest down because this bacteria that gets into the spine actually crushes the spine. And there's no prognosis for healing. Like, he'll never walk again. There were only 65 cases in the world of people that had it. And I think the longest one of them lived is 10 years. And besides that, he's in excruciating pain. But on top of that, he had pancreatitis and diabetes, heart problems, hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's, all these other illnesses. Yeah. And when they told him he'll never heal, he said, I'm going to walk. And he's now written a book called Self-Healing. He's walking. Yeah. He healed himself of all these illnesses, and he teaches in his book how to actually do it. So I'm busy working through that myself as well.
You have to send me the link to that book. I'd like to read that.
Yeah, I mean, if he can do it, if you can walk, despite what anybody says, but the main thing is that you are you maintain a focus on that it's possible.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you have
Yeah.
doubt, you're just going to go right
Yeah.
back. It's like being on the train and then stopping your tracks, turning around and going back again. You lose
Yeah.
all the
Exactly.
momentum. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah, definitely. I need to read that book, see what he's done.
yeah, because and what's amazing is he's actually, like, I've read so many books on self-healing and that, but all of them have been kind of vague. I don't know if you've heard of Dr. David Hawkins. He talks about letting go. And it's so easy to say, just let go. Forget your
Yeah.
past. Just let it go. How do you actually let it go? How do you know that your body's even carrying anything? In order for it to let go, you're having symptoms, right? And you can't just sit there and go, you know what? I'm just not going to worry about this pain right now. You can't. So there's no technique. And what he does is actually gives you a technique. He gives you actual meditations to say. And anyway, so I find that quite fascinating.
I've learned to change past memories because I can bring memories to the surface, like a bad memory. And I can actually, I've learned to change it and put that memory back in the brain. So that one's gone. So I no longer have that memory. And because memories cause pain, stress causes the pain. So it's learning to deal with all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think even things like fibromyalgia, yes, there can be a biological cause, but I often find that's a stress response. Like you say, it's your adrenals are on hyperactive drive. But the thing is, if your body's able to heal a wound, if it's able to heal a fracture, then there's no reason why it wouldn't be able to heal an emotional pain as well.
Yeah, it's just a lot harder.
Yeah, it's just because it's below your level of awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think
it's getting to learn how to let go, isn't it? And
well, that's it. That's why I said if David Hawkins had taught us, okay, this is how you let go. This is what you think. So, I mean, sometimes it is just a conscious decision. You just say, do I really want to carry that? Is it working for me? No, let it go. Let it, it's not important. It's not relevant. But I think often what we want is closure. We want an apology. We want an acknowledgement of all the pain they put us through, of all the, whatever that trauma was.
We're definitely not going to get it. So that's why you have to let it go. No.
No ways. In fact,
let it go.
In fact, it's because, like you say, as soon as you said fun, I'll give myself to you now. They're like, no, I don't want you. There's no fun in that. There's no joy. If you went kicking and screaming, then they'd say, yeah, we're gonna make you suffer while you're at it. But you're like, no, it's okay.
You can have me.
Because there's no resistance anymore. That's it. The resistance is gone.
Yeah. Well, whenever I felt like I had made a pact. So it was like between me and God, and he let me stay, and I'm like, well, okay, if you want me now, you can have me. I kept my promise. If you want to take me, you can take me. And he decided, no, you can stay.
Nice. Well, exactly. Then obviously your time's not done yet. So
not yet.
Would you get in another relationship, or are you happy by yourself?
No, I'm going to stay by myself. And I'm trying to work on meditation because I'm not great at doing meditation. And I'm going to try work on, I do angel cards. I work with angel cards pretty well. So I want to try and delve into the tarot cards, but I don't know if I should because they can be a bit iffy. And I want to learn more about the moon, because I'm not quite up with that, and how the stars align, and just generally how the universe is affecting me and how I can work with it.
Okay.
And with the world in general, with everything going on, what to eat, what not to eat. You don't know where you're going, do you? You don't know if your government's controlling you with where you live, what you eat. Everything's a control thing, even down to we want you to drive an electric car because they can then control it. It's It's very worrying.
Well, what is it about the tarot that you'd like to do?
The tarot. I don't understand the tarot when they're mixed with other cards. I can read them on individual level, but when they start to come with other cards and they factor in a whole new meaning, I'm not understanding it. So I'm having to learn and I'm trying to work it out, and it's not come yet.
Okay. Well, I think with anything, everything can be bad or good, depending on what your
Yeah.
intention is behind it. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're playing the Ouija board just to see what's going on, then you're opening up portals. Well, that could be a lack of responsibility almost, like,
Yeah. Yeah. Because I was
But
so
if you're doing
young.
tarot, your intention can be only good, the
Yeah.
best possible information can come through. You're not opening up for anybody. You're just connecting with your
Yeah.
guides or
Yeah.
angels.
Yeah. Well, my kind of guide is Archangel Michael. I deal kind of with him and talk with him spiritually. If I want anything, I'm talking with him. So I've just not really delved into it deep enough. I need to work on it.
You need to or you want to.
I want to. I need to and I want to.
Yeah, I think what happens. We get so caught up in day-to-day life, you forget what's actually important out there. And the
You
truth
do.
is, I believe they do want to control us, but they can't control us. Because they
Mm,
can't read your mind. They don't know what you think. They might want to build a 15-minute city and, lock you up in there, but they can't control your mind. They're trying to.
yeah, they're trying to, yeah. Maybe further down the line when we're not here, and I kind of worry for my grandchildren's children, that far down the line, maybe another 100 years. I dread to think what it's going to be like.
Well, the way I see it is they chose that.
They chose it, yeah, they're going to let it happen.
It's part of soul's evolution. For whatever reason they're
Mm,
choosing to come into earth and experience that, then that's what they're coming for. And
we don't know why, do we?
no, and ultimately, it's just like, to me, life's just a game anyway. Like, you can't really be harmed. Like, at a higher level, it take you out and then you just come back again. Take you out, just come back again.
But you just don't remember it all sometimes.
This is the problem. You see, it's that karma. You have to go through all that pain again just to remember who you are. That's the only,
I know.
to me, it's like, really, that I don't want to, you spend the first 20 years of your life growing up in an environment that's dysfunctional, and then the rest of your life trying to heal from it.
Yeah, definitely. So you're a firm believer in reincarnation then?
Oh, I know it. I've experienced it. I've had many, many, many recollections of where I was in past lives. I remember a lot of people that I've met that are in this lifetime. Yeah. I have a very strong connection with Mexico.
We meet the same people time after time, don't we?
Yeah.
Only with different intentions and things happening. But I believe everybody's there for a reason.
Well, my ex-husband, he was with me in I remember 3 other lifetimes with him. And all different roles. In one, he was a friend. We were young boys, both of us. In another one, I was a nun and he was a priest. And I used to look up to him. We had long conversations. And what was the other one? There was another one we were shipwrecked, and he ended up living. I ended up getting eaten by a shark, which was why I'm petrified of the ocean.
Oh gosh.
And I mean, you just keep playing out these roles over and over again. But as you say, it's also finished now. That karma's done.
Yeah, you have to go through it till the karma's done, don't you? And until you realise what it is, you can't finish the karma.
Well, often we think, I'm meant to be with this person, but maybe you're meant to be with them in order to let them go. Maybe you're meant to be with them to learn how to release the contract. It didn't mean you have to be with them for the rest of your life. It's to actually take ownership of your life.
Yeah. And I think I always question, why was I put with them in the first place? You know, why did you give me that person?
You know, I think because I've also been in very toxic relationships. To me, they were my greatest teacher. Because if they're a mirror for what you need to heal in yourself, whatever they're triggering, if they've got absolute disdain for you or they don't care when I mean, I fell down the stairs and my husband just left me lying there. And I thought, what kind of a human being would do that to somebody?
Yeah.
And I fell from quite high and I landed on a concrete floor. And,
Wow.
and in hindsight, I think, well, why should he? Why would he? Because I need to do it. I can't be waiting for somebody else to be doing that for me. You take care of you instead of taking care of everybody else. Take away the middleman.
You sound very much like me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Experienced the things you're very on my mindset. It's like I could sit and have a very deep conversation with you about life and it would be mirrored very, very well.
Well, you know what, if you're like, to me, people that are coming from a dysfunctional home life, it doesn't mean you don't care about your family. It just means they don't understand you. And you land up you're seeing something that they're not seeing. You're feeling it at a deeper level. And because of that, you feel like you just don't belong. You just feel like something's not right here. Why are they not seeing it? It's like being an imposter in somebody else's world.
Absolutely. And you just don't know why you're there.
Yeah. And then you realize then somebody tells you down the line, actually, you chose that. You're like, no way. I didn't choose that.
This. We choose things and we don't even know why we choose it. But I think we only kind of learn when we get older, probably into maybe 30s. We start to understand that we're here because we've chose it, and there's things we need to change or fix or release to move on from that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in South Africa and I have no affinity for this country. There's so many days I drive around and think, what am I doing here? Why am I born into this place? I mean, I had to laugh at there was a TikTok.
I've always wanted to go to South Africa. Always.
Beautiful country.
And it's like,
it looks beautiful country.
Lovely, yeah, because I go on holiday with my friend every year, and I said, we're going there one day.
Well, if you come with pounds, you'll live like queens, because everything here is I think the pound to the rand is about 20 now, 21.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to stay in 5-star hotels even, because the price has just gone crazy.
Really?
It's a beautiful country. Yeah.
I've always been drawn to South Africa, always. I remember even being in high school and a boy came over from South Africa, his family, to be here. And I was just drawn to him straight away. Like, tell me everything about your country. I need to know everything. And I was like, and he was looking at me like, why? I was only like 13. And I'm like, I need to know everything. Tell me everything. Where you live, what it looks like, what's the road like, everything. And this boy thought I was a nutcase. But, South Africa's on there. For some reason, I need to go there. I don't know why.
Well, if you ever do come here, you must go to the bush. That's where all the wildlife is. We have the most spectacular sunsets.
Really?
It's another world. It's very open and expansive, but not much works anymore. Our electricity often is switched off, the waters, everything. It's just falling apart. The whole infrastructure is falling apart.
I think ours is too. I think we're getting to that point. I think the world's infrastructure is falling apart. I think it's happening everywhere. And my friend, she's just come back from Ghana, where I suppose we would say it's quite primitive. And she says to me, do you know, it's not. She said, Michelle, it's actually a nice way to live. You can go out, pick the fruit off the tree. You're free. nobody's telling you, you have to do X, Y, Z, and you can't do this and you can't do. She said, and it's such a different life. Yes, they might not have anything, but their way of life is healthy and good. And she couldn't believe it. She said, I could live there. She said, no, we don't know what's going on around the world.
Maybe you need to go to Ghana.
No, I'm not kind of enticed to go to Ghana. It's not on my list.
Not there.
No, Turkey and Morocco and South Africa and China and Hong Kong, all these kind of areas I'm drawn to go to for whatever reason. I'll get to them one day.
Yeah. So, is there a message you want to share with our viewers?
I would say always keep looking at the light. Always make sure you cover yourself in light. Always, even if somebody's doing something bad to you, you need to kind of look at them and cover them with light, and just let it go, because then they've done something to you for a reason, but you don't need to retaliate with it. I've learned to just cover them with light and walk away. Use the light to yourself, what you need to do. You can use that light for yourself, for your animals, for your home, for everything. You've given it. So learn to use it and use it appropriately.
Yeah, love that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Oh, awesome. It actually reminds me, when somebody drives really close behind you and you get annoyed, your first response is to put your foot on the brake.
Yeah.
I actually discovered that when I send them lights, they back off.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. It's very counterintuitive, I might say.
Yeah. Always the light. Light works.
Yeah, but it works every time. And all I do is really just send them white lights.
Yeah. Sometimes a gold light I've used, depending on the person. Sometimes their soul's not quite needing the white light, so we need the gold light. So I don't know what the difference is in the white and the gold light, but I know that one's more powerful than the other.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering about that. So, can you still see spirits?
If I want to and choose to, yes, but I've asked Spirit World to not show me spirits, because for many years they would just appear like people. So I could be stood in a queue talking to somebody and people would be looking at, and I'd be actually talking to a spirit. And I can see them as a human being in front of me. So I've asked them they need to veil themselves away from me. So they do that. So now we communicate more with the mind. So I just know, and I'll be told things, and I can feel a lot of things, but I don't want to see. So, and if it's people I don't know, if I go to people's houses and they say, well, we think we've got a spirit, I don't even ask who's there. I just move them to the light. I just get rid of them. And they'll say, well, who was it? I don't know. I didn't ask. I just sent them away. I don't need to know who they are. I don't need that burden from them, because spirits can be a burden. So you need to switch off, and you need to have them at a distance. And yes, I have the ability to go in and I can get rid of them, but I don't communicate with them to know why you're there. Unless they really need me to know, they'll say, no, I need to tell you. But otherwise, if they're just there in the background, I can just send them to the light and they're gone. And, it usually works.
Yeah. Well, are those not maybe people that are kind of stuck? They don't realize that they've passed on?
A lot of them are. A lot of them are. And when I've moved on spirits that's could have been bad spirits, let's say, I've always got sick. I remember always got sick, always either I end up with a flu or a stomach ache or something will happen with me. But the worst one was I went to my friend's boyfriend's house. He said he had something there and there was a lot of bad energy and I got rid of it and I came home. My tooth literally fell out. My tooth just fell out. So sometimes I have to think, do I need to lose all my teeth to do this? So,
at least it's a tooth and not a leg or an arm.
Yeah, it literally just, it didn't come out with the root. It just literally fell out. It just come off and fell out. And I'm like,
could you put it back in again?
Yeah, I had to go to the dentist and sort it out. Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was so weird. But I know these things happen. That's why I don't try to get their energy. I don't want their energy with me. So I move them along with the light. And if I think energy is left behind, I go round with my bell or a smudge stick or something and just clear that energy. And it seems to be okay.
So if people can't see these energies, are they able to do it as well? Or is it better to get someone who can actually hear or see them?
I think it's better for somebody that knows what they're doing to come in and do it. I mean, you can just do it. It's not going to do any harm, but it's grounding yourself. You need to know how to ground yourself. And I do it subconsciously now. I just know what to do. And it's what you're saying to the angels. It's how you're getting them removed. You know, if you don't know what you're doing, you might just be wasting your time. You know, you can light a candle. It's not going to do you any harm. You can go around with your smudge stick. It's not going to do you any harm, but it's grounding yourself so you don't absorb that bad energy or any energy and releasing it and knowing to send it to the light.
Yeah.
That's the problem that I find some people have is they think they get rid of things and that they can't.
Well, like that Ouija board. No, because then those would be other types of entities. Those wouldn't be people that have passed on that didn't know. These would be some kind of
evil.
I don't know. Like demonic or some kind of entity that's trying to get into the earth.
Yeah, definitely.
So what are their chances of like living here for hundreds of years? And what does it do for them anyway?
Oh, I don't know. I think that they're there, and sometimes I think you need, if it's a dark spirit, you need to get them into the light, but it's very hard because it's pulling them from the dark. So you need to, first of all, remove that darkness and get them to the light without getting involved. And that can be quite tricky, and it needs a lot of kind of thought of how you're going to go. You need to always just be protecting yourself. You know, you always need to be grounded. You always need to have affirmations so nothing can hurt you, and you can move it, but sometimes some are just best left there. Just leave them.
Well, I mean, our Earth's teeming with all sorts of stuff we can't see.
Yeah, definitely.
At no point dabbling in it, just like you say, leave it alone.
Yeah.
They will find somebody to latch onto.
They do. They really do.
Which is what I think that narcissists are. I think they are parasites.
Yeah, they are.
Beings.
Yeah, they are. They can be like that. And people with a lot of mental health issues.
Yeah.
I think something's not quite right, and I do sometimes wonder, is there a bad energy there that needs to come out, and can you release it? Can you get it out? The answer usually is no, because nobody, I think's really tried.
Could it also be a permission thing from them as a soul? You know,
possibly they could. It's like you say, we all choose. You know, we choose to be here and who we are, and it could be a karma for them. I don't know.
to me, that would be the worst kind of punishment to give anybody.
Yeah,
Because, you can have a physical ailment, but if it's in your head and you
very
just
hard.
don't even know what's
Yeah.
reality anymore, that's just torture.
Yeah, it is. And a lot of people with physical disabilities, they choose to come like that for, we don't know what their karma was, but they've come and they've done it.
Well, the way I see it is like wherever you left off is where you're going to start. So, like your life, maybe your life got interrupted, you're not a new body, but if you had if you maybe had an insecurity that time, it's not a karmic thing as much as it is just, oh yeah, this is who I am. I'm going to continue being that character, and if I
Yeah,
believe that I'm the village idiot, then I'm going to be born into being an idiot this lifetime because that's what I believed I was.
yeah,
And so,
yeah,
not particularly that somebody cast a spell on you and said, no, you got to pay this back. It's more like that lesson I haven't finished with. I didn't
yeah,
overcome
yeah.
my ability to see my worth or whatever that thing is.
So you have to go through it again.
Yeah, until
Yeah,
you've managed to
it's quite
find your
sad,
power.
isn't it? Quite sad.
Cheers.
Okay, lovely. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Yeah, no, thank you for sharing. You enjoy
Okay,
your
take
evening.
care. Bye bye.
Bye, Michelle. Bye bye.